Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. So, in this session, we'll be continuing discussing on chapter 2, okay, Malaysia landscape for halal industry, and I am Muhammad Afiq Abdul Razak, and I'm from the Academy of Contemporary Islamic Studies, ACIS, UiTM Shah Alam. Okay, for the start, the learning objective of this particular topic, okay, by the end of this chapter, we hope that student will be able to, number one, explain the concept of halal governance. Secondly, be able to identify the role of government agencies in halal industry as well as other components of the halal ecosystem. And the third one will be able to analyze the supporting infrastructure towards the industry within halal ecosystem. Okay, so these are the contents that we will go through in this particular topic. Okay, we will learn about halal knowledge resources. Okay, we will look into what are the types of halal authorities and agencies. Okay, certification and standards, okay, and so on. Right. As for the introduction, okay, Malaysia is the pioneer of the halal certification throughout the world. Okay, because Malaysia halal certification is well known. It's globally renowned and highly regarded as the top standard by many countries. It's a part of recognition to our country. Okay, and this status is not easy to achieve. This achievement of global status, okay, shows that Malaysian halal ecosystem has a strong components, okay, within its framework that includes not only government but also other components, the industry players, the stakeholders, so both governance aspect as well as business aspect. But saying this is not something that we can take for granted, okay, because we can see that there's a lot of countries, even Muslim minority countries, are now pursuing going for halal certification for its own. Okay, so but since we achieved that, okay, competent authorities, which is government sector, okay, from various scopes, and these supporting parties, okay, the industry players, the stakeholders, so this synergy produce in driving the halal industry as well as the halal economy, which is boosted by halal industry and market. Okay, therefore, it is essential to understand the building blocks of Malaysia's halal economy ecosystem to relate with halal industry and market. Okay, so basically what we learn afterwards is to understand what are the main players, what are the halal governance structure that exist in Malaysia. But before we go to that particular discussion, we have to know what is governance. Okay, there's a lot of definitions, and one of them that I brought here is that governance can be defined as procedures and processes according to which an organization is directed and controlled. Okay, the corporate governance, in other hand, structures specify the distribution of rights and responsibilities among the different participants in the organization, such as the board, the managers, the shareholders, and other stakeholders, and lays down the rules and procedures for decision making. So in simple word, governance is like a structure that all the work of scheme is distributed throughout all the people who involved in a particular organization. So an organization should have some outline or some specific objectives to be achieved. So in order to ensure that everybody takes part in that, everybody takes responsibilities, so it requires a governance. Okay, a governance. And governance is also defined as a set of relationship between a company's board, the shareholders, and other stakeholders that provide the structure and mechanism through which the objectives of the company are set and the means for attaining those objectives, as well as monitoring performance, are determined. So in this case, when we discuss about halal industry and market, so what kind of governance that we need? Of course, governance that we need is to ensure that we maintain the halal certification, but also the halal implementation within the organization, not just fulfilling the duty of keeping the certifications going on, but we want to ensure that the culture of halal practice is embedded within the organization. And this is the importance of good governance, especially for halal industry, because halal itself means something that permissible by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which means that everything that we do is in line with Allah's commandments. So this means that we need to have an established good governance within halal industry. However, we can see that based from the literatures, there are some issues, okay, regarding good governance in halal industry. And one of the author mentioned about halal industry is found less regulated in terms of governance, okay? And halal certificate holding companies do not have a clear Sharia governance framework to ensure the company fulfill its duty and promise to the stakeholder and the customer. Means that the company or organization just focus on the certification aspect, nothing more. Okay, so having a good governance. So what is the benefit of having a good governance? Is that it can boost confidence of the shareholders and the publics that all the practices and activities are in compliance with Sharia at all times. Okay, halal industry needs for specific halal governance to govern the whole halal supply chain in halal industry in Malaysia. So here's the landscape for halal industry and market. So we have authorities and agencies, both from government sectors and also the private sectors as well. So these are the main structure. Okay, as for the main authorities, competent authorities that plays major role in halal industry, of course, will be the JAKIM. Okay, Jabatan Kemajuan Islam Malaysia, or Islamic Development Department of Malaysia. So JAKIM is the competent authority that govern halal matters, halal certification matters, halal certification system. Okay, and it is supported by I might say a secondary authorities or agencies such as HDC, okay, Halal Development Corporation, which they focus on the knowledge resources for business grooming and so on. We have also KPD and HCP. So this is the Kementerian Kepenggunaan or Consumer Ministry. Okay, so this govern aspect of consumerism. They have the Trade Description Act 2011 that giving the authority to matters in halal. And we have the Department of Standard Malaysia, Jabatan Standard Malaysia, that initiate the establishment of halal standard in Malaysia. So we have the second layer here is the support mechanism for these main agencies. We have the Ministry of Health, okay. We have Department of Veterinary Services, Department of Chemistry, MAKIS, local authority, and so on. Okay, and the third layer will be the economy focus for growth, such as MITI, Ministry of Trade and Industry. We have Malaysia External Trade, MATRADE, Development Corporation. We have MIDA, we have MPC, SIRIM, EPU, SME Corporation, which is they focusing on development and also assisting the small and micro enterprises in Malaysia. And this also important because these are the main economic driving force in our countries, because many of the companies are registered as SME. Okay. And then going back to the halal governance, so we can divide halal governance into two aspects, which is the macro supervision and the micro supervision. The macro means the bigger role, or the external role. Okay? This involves halal agencies in whole supply chain, and the micro supervision is within an individual organization in order to achieve halal objective. And then these both components will make up to the what we call as Sharia compliance throughout all the halal supply chain. Okay. So why is that we have this structure of many layers of agency authorities within our halal governance? This is important because this structure will have a proper control of halal food, which we call as from farm to table. We want to ensure that from the raw material until it reaches to the consumer, so the halal integrity will be always be preserved. And this is highly sensitive because halal matters, in other hand, is serious matter to Muslim consumers and even for the government of Malaysia. Okay, and in Malaysia, halal food production, certification, monitoring, and surveillance are handled by the following agencies that we have been also covered in the previous slide. Now moving on into the important bit of history about JAKIM, Jabatan Kemajuan Islam Malaysia, Department of Islamic Development of Malaysia, which is the parent organization or the competent authority that govern about halal in Malaysia. Okay, so Department of Islamic Development Malaysia, JAKIM, so they manage for the certification body for halal food in Malaysia. Okay, so under this organization, okay, Malaysia has developed a comprehensive halal certification process. Now we have 9 schemes in total that offered under Malaysian halal certification scheme. Okay, a total quality health and sanitary system that involves specific procedures for slaughtering, processing, and other related operations as prescribed by Islamic law. So this is the basis that JAKIM put forward underlying the halal certification. And JAKIM certifies raw materials, ingredients, and product based on quality, sanitary, and safety consideration as part of the prerequisites in order to get certified. Okay, the system also applicable to other consumer items. Now we have 9 schemes. We have in total of 9 schemes. We have food products, food and beverage products. We have a food service. We have a hotel kitchen. We have slaughterhouse. We have logistics. We have cosmetics and personal care products. We have pharmaceuticals and medical device, and there are 9 in total. Okay, upon application made, so every application should be made in the website called My-e-Halal. Okay, at JAKIM website. So JAKIM will examine the application forms and the accompanying information, which includes all the information regarding the ingredients, the raw materials that you use, the packaging materials, production process, all the process procedures. And in addition to that, to further strengthen the enforcement of halal monitoring, various guidelines will also established and produced by JAKIM and will also be made available in their websites. Okay. Okay, so the last part for this session, for this video, is the Majlis Halal Malaysia or Malaysia Halal Council, which become a new framework in halal governance. And one of the role of HPP, Halal Professional Board, is that they involve in policy making and implementation of professional development and competent halal practitioner, and also they develop halal training program module. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.